The New York Knicks are targeting superstar level players this offseason, and we have to talk about it. So what's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to jump right into the video as always, because in a recent report from Jake Fischer, when talking about the likelihood of the New York Knicks acquiring Mikal Bridges, he mentioned that the only way that could even possibly happen is if the Knicks lose OG Anunoby in free agency, something that's a virtual lock to not happen. This means that the Knicks will not be going for Mikal Bridges, and they have turned their attention towards superstar-level players, including one name specifically, according to Jake Fischer, where the New York Knicks are looking for a Giannis-level player in this offseason. Now, does that mean Giannis specifically, like the thumbnail says? Not exactly. Could it be Giannis? Absolutely. Is this video going to mainly be about Giannis? More than any other superstar, but we're going to mention the familiar, the usual suspects. So let's just kind of break this down. Why would Milwaukee trade Giannis Antetokounmpo? It's a pretty simple answer. Damian Lillard is a free agent next year. If he wants, he can walk from the Bucks if he thinks they're going to blow it up, and the Bucks will get nothing in return for Dame, who they absolutely mortgaged everything for to bring in a true star player next to Giannis, with Middleton getting older and dealing with injuries. They went away from Jrue Holiday. They went in for Damian Lillard, but due to an injury to Giannis, due to an injury to Dame, due to Chris Middleton having two injured ankles, the Pacers beat them. The Pacers won that playoff series, then obviously went on to play a broken Knicks the same way they played a broken Bucks and went to the Eastern Conference Finals despite not deserving it and being not even a top 6 team in the Eastern Conference. However, they got there. It is what it is. They got lucky. But the Milwaukee Bucks, they could decide, all right, we don't want to lose Dame for nothing. If Dame walks, Giannis is going to request a trade anyway. His value goes down if he openly says, I don't want to play for the Bucks anymore. We might see it's in our best interest to move Giannis this offseason, to move Dame, to move Middleton if you can, and kind of start over. Because let's be serious. If you're moving Giannis, you're not going to get that level of talent back for him. And the Milwaukee Bucks can only win if Giannis is at his best. The team is falling apart. They don't have too many angles to fix themselves. They've given everything for what they have in this squad. So if they can't get someone through their taxpayer mid-level exception, they're going to struggle to add a player who can fit with this team and help put them over the edge. I've said before, I think the perfect player for them is Alex Caruso, but they don't have a lot of enticing things to give the Bulls, and the Bulls can probably get more from other teams for Caruso, and then they don't have to trade him within their division and could even move him out of the conference if they so choose. This puts the Bucks in a very awkward spot, and it's where the New York Knicks can strike. If the Bucks very quietly decide to blow things up without letting it get out to the media, the Knicks will certainly strike for Giannis. They have 8 first-round picks they could trade. They have a plethora of young players and matchable contracts and valuable players that they can give for Giannis, and we're going to get into a mock trade in a little bit. But when you consider the fact that the Knicks and Julius Randle are yet to agree on a contract extension, when you look at Randle as someone who not only can be a tradable asset if the Bucks wanted to take him in a Giannis trade, so they could either try to use him or flip him for more picks, which I think would be the right move there, and then also kind of get rid of some salary in the process, because they can either flip him, he's an expiring deal, you could flip him for a different, lesser valued expiring contract and draft picks. There's moves the Bucks can make to really hot restart this rebuild. Now, obviously, if they trade Giannis, they're done contending. They need a superstar as good as Giannis in order to be this good. In order to really be a true contender at all, they're going to need that. So when you consider all their options, they have 2 choices. Rebuild now, or risk it by going for an NBA Finals, and then if that fails and Dame leaves and Giannis requests a trade, rebuild with way less assets. So there's a risk-reward to each side. And if they decide to kind of take the former and just rebuild now, don't risk losing out on players for way less value than you already could have traded them for, then they trade Giannis. And yeah, the Oklahoma City Thunder can give a better option or a better trade package for Giannis if they felt like it than the Knicks can. But outside of that, the Knicks probably have the most enticing package. And the Knicks seemingly would have some interest in Giannis. as Brian Windhorst mentioned, the whole league is obviously watching what happens with him, and certainly the Knicks are one of those teams. And not only that, but he also did mention that there's no rumbles about Giannis wanting out of Milwaukee. Now, that's a good sign for the Bucks, but again, he's already hinted at if they're not contending, he will leave, and he has no problem leaving because he's not going to be on a losing team. With that in mind, they have to realize that those rumbles of wanting to leave could happen overnight. Again, Giannis basically said, I will leave if this team is not good enough. He said it to the media. Giannis does not have any qualms about going out there and shooting his own value in the foot in order to create a winner. He says that basically, yeah, I want to play for a winning team, like just to paraphrase his words. I don't want to mix Giannis's words, but he basically said, I'm playing to become a winner. I want to win championships. I won one. I'm not satisfied with one. If I can't be on a winning team here, even though I'd rather it be here, I will look at other options. Which basically is Giannis saying, trade me or trade for someone. Days later, Damian Lillard gets acquired by the Bucks, someone who no one really saw coming until the 25th hour, and then Giannis re-signs on an extension days later after that. So clearly they made Giannis happy enough to initially agree to an extension, so they can't just dangle the fact that Giannis is a free agent. They can kind of say, nah, you're stuck here, dude, and we're not moving you because you make us too much money. And maybe Giannis pulls a Kawhi and sits out, though I don't think that's in his character to do so. So it does make things a little interesting on what is going to happen, because despite the fact that there's no rumbles yet, there could easily be that flip. And right now, if Giannis quietly goes to them and is like, hey, if we lose, I will request a trade and I will ruin my value. Or if Dame goes up to them and is like, yeah, I'm leaving. I told Giannis I'm going to leave in free agency unless we win. I'm not doing a first round exit again. I don't care if I'm not healthy. I'll just leave. I'll go to Miami. Then the Bucks have to consider trading Giannis, and I think this is one of the best packages that the Bucks could get for him. Now, they trade him to the Knicks, and in the process, the Knicks trade Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson, along with Deuce McBride, just as a valuable young player. You get Mitch, who's kind of valuable, tradable contract. You get Julius, who's an all-star, all-NBA level talent, and a tradable contract. And on top of that, you get the Dallas pick this year at 24. You get Milwaukee gets their pick back in 2025 that the Knicks currently own. The Knicks also give their 2026 first rounder, their 2028, and their 2030 first rounder. So 3 of their most valuable assets. There's a chance in 2030, that's 6 years away, when Giannis is going to be older, that he will not be producing the same and that Jalen Brunson might be slowing down in 6 or so years also. So then that pick could become valuable, and the Bucks could actually have done something good here and kind of done a successful rebuild. The Bucks don't have their own picks. And that incentivizes doing anything you can to not trading Giannis. And that's why there's been no rumbles about Giannis wanting out. He knows the Bucks will do whatever he says. He knows how much pull he has over that franchise. He's arguably the greatest player in Bucks franchise history. I think many people would put him over Kareem. You have to ask Bucks fans what they think. I mean, I didn't know who the best player on the Raptors was until I literally asked Ben Rogers of Raptors Digest when we were chilling at a Knicks game. I'm like, who's your franchise GOAT? And he's like, oh, it's easily Kyle Lowry. Like, I knew he was in there, but I didn't know. So you got to ask Bucks fans on that who their best player in history is. I assume most of them would say Giannis. I would say Giannis from an outsider perspective. And Giannis is a top 3 player in the NBA. I think right now what you're looking at is Jokic, Luka, and Giannis being your top 3 NBA players. The Knicks, if they acquired Giannis, and obviously they'd keep Jalen Brunson in that process, they'd be the only team in the NBA with 2 NBA superstars. They'd be the only team with 2 superstars, 2 guys who you could actually say, and this is what I qualify as a superstar, a guy who is good enough to lead their team to a championship, unless the Celtics win this year because they just don't have one. Jason Tatum's not one, as we saw from that game. From that game 1, man. He's not like that. But the Knicks would then have a top 3 point guard in the NBA, the other 2 being Luka and Shea, and there's an argument that Brunson is better than Shea. I think many people would make it. I think I could make a great one, just based off these playoff numbers alone. I mean, Brunson has as many 40-point games as the rest of the Eastern Conference does, and he hasn't played in 3 weeks. Like, he's just that good. You add a guy like Brunson who fits so well next to Giannis, and you move Giannis to center for the back half of his career, I think that works. Giannis won Defensive Player of the Year because of his off-ball defense. He's one of the best off-ball defenders in the NBA. The only guy who's a better off-ball defender than Giannis, and this is arguable, is Anthony Davis. So when you look at it, I think it would work beautifully, especially in that drop coverage of the next play. Obviously, Giannis can switch on and play some decent on-ball defense also. And you just build a team around that. You get a stretch 4. You get someone who could fit there. Or you find a stretch 5. Maybe Bobby Portis comes back in that scenario because him and Giannis have become good friends. Or you just find one. Maybe you draft Kel'el Ware and try to develop him into someone who could play next to Giannis if the Knicks are able to pull this off. And for now, you run Giannis at the 5 and, I don't know, try to figure out how to get like Dean Wade off the Cavs, an elite on-ball defender with an excellent three-point stroke, something like that. There's ways the Knicks could trade for Giannis and basically instantly be the expected NBA Finals winner next year. Now, that only happens if the Bucks decide to blow it up, which I think is more likely than people are giving credit for, because they don't want to lose Dame and then lose Giannis, whose value gets lowered because he refuses to play for the Bucks anymore. And that would be a rough way for Giannis's Bucks career to end, but the man wants to win games, and the Bucks are not looking like a team that is going to be very successful unless they make a change this offseason, and then they could easily win the finals. So I think it's more likely than what people think that the Bucks will blow it up, but at the same time, I kind of think they'll go back to it. And also, when you look at the Knicks, just very briefly, because this became way more of a Giannis video than I intended, Giannis-level could also mean Joel Embiid if he decides to ask out, though I highly doubt that's happening with this rivalry brewing, or a Devin Booker, who's maybe not on that level, but is close. Obviously, Luka and Jokic are not going anywhere. Shea's not going anywhere. But you got options. I mean, even an Anthony Davis, who Kendrick Perkins did a little thing about with trading him to the Knicks. If you guys want to see me make that video, put it in the comments below. But outside of that, just like this video, subscribe to Knicks Digest, turn on post notifications. Do y'all think this could happen? Would you want it to happen? Give me your trades in the comments. Y'all know how it goes. Have a great day. Go Knicks, baby.